What up, fam? Ladies and gentlemen, it is Eagles Talk, Super Bowl 59 champion Eagles Talk. We are here live coming at you, brought to you by, as always, Bozzio's Bread, located in Mount Laurel, New Jersey, home of the best stuffed breads, tomato pies, sandwiches, cutlets, and meatballs. Mention ATD Radio for 10% off your in-store purchase. It's Chuck's, it's PY. No Brinks tonight. He's feeling under the weather. But we will have Les Bowen on with us as usual in about roughly 10 minutes. He should be on with us. But PY, what's going on, man? How are you? Clean shaven, PY.
This is true.
Yes, and we can all see it's very, very, very true. How are you feeling? You still sick?
Yes, still sick.
Still sick.
I'm recovering from the parade.
Well, a lot of us are.
No, you are not recovering from the parade, sir. So don't lump yourself into this category.
Hey, man, I paid my dues with the first parade, so I deserve.
We all did. I walked 10 miles at that parade.
God. Well, all right. So let's get to before we because we have a really fun show, and I definitely want to get. I'm excited to get all the people's comments and everything onto it. But we're going to talk about the best plays from this Eagles season. Before we get into that, because I want Les Bowen to also chime in and be here for that segment. Let's talk about our parade experiences. I went, you went, but we totally had different experiences this time around. So why don't you share? How did your parade experience go?
It was an interesting experience. I left my house at 4 a.m. I got to the train station around 5 something.
Was it busy? Was it busy at the train station when you got there?
By the time I got there, no. But right as we were waiting to get on, that's when everyone started showing up. And I got there at 5:30 just because I was worried there wouldn't be any parking. So
yeah,
I ended up meeting these random guys on the train, kind of hung out with them the rest of the day. Took a fireball shot with them as we're boarding the train and getting ready to go. Super fun. I spent all day hanging out with these dudes. We're just chilling, getting ready for the parade. I had a random girl give me a Black and Mild cigarette. It was just a wild, fun day. Everyone's yelling and screaming and cursing and all this other stuff. We're really close to the parade action, and we're extremely close to the gunshots that had happened near Park. So that was a little scary. Because at first you're like, oh, cool, is that fireworks or something? And then you see all the cops in the middle, and you're just like, oh, okay, no, what's going on? Are they dispersing anything? No, okay, let's go, keep parading, yay! And
I can't even imagine.
No. Well, my mom gave me instructions for this parade. Don't get shot, don't get stabbed, and come home in one piece. So
yeah.
So we're getting ready. I'm getting ready to leave. I didn't go to the art museum.
Well, where were you exactly? What spot were you camped out at?
Near the guardrails or something. Really close to 9th and Locust.
9th and Locust. Okay.
Yeah. So Parkview Ave or whatever the hell it's called. I was near there. I tried getting back home. I left around 1 something, and I was in line for an hour and a half to get on the Patco to go home. So
that sounds right.
So I left my house at 4:30. I got home at 4:30.
Yeah, get it. So yeah, that's why we decided not to go on the train this time around. Well, not this time around. We didn't even go. We didn't use the train at all. I didn't want to get caught in that. So for those who don't know, my experience from the first parade was just we were there because I was prepared. If you know me, I'm always prepared for stuff like this. Hence, I'm a travel agent for a reason. I had reserved a hotel room for that week so that I'd be in the city for the parade already, and just in case it happened. I booked this before the Super Bowl, obviously. So, I took a risk, but I think it was free cancellation anyways. But I had the hotel room already booked, so I was already in the city for the days leading up to that parade. And then the day of the parade, we got to the art museum. We decided to do the art museum. We got there at 3 a.m. and we were there the whole time. And I don't know how it was for everyone this time around, but when we were there, we couldn't leave our spot to go to take a bathroom break. So like I was stuck. All of us were stuck in there. Like I peed in a bottle numerous times while I was there, with Mary covering me up with with a blanket, so obviously no one would see. But that was an experience being there. And then surprisingly, our getting out of the city wasn't that bad, because my car was parked in a parking garage. We walked back. We were in Center City, so I went to the parking garage in Center City, and there was no traffic. There was hardly any traffic on the way back, so getting out was really easy for us. So, but it was a very, very long day. I remember that. This time around, it was so much less stressful. My friend didn't pick me up, so my boy picked me up, and it was around, I'd say, like like right before 9 o'clock, and so and like everyone's already there. So like my dad's like, "You guys are late. Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Well, my boy's picking me up. He's getting me up at 9. So what am I supposed to do?" So picks me up around 9, and it takes us about like 30 to 40 minutes to get into the city. Surprisingly, get this, I didn't understand. Walt Whitman was backed up with so much traffic, but we took the Ben Franklin. There was no traffic on the Ben Franklin. It was empty on the Ben. So we got into the city really easily, and we parked on Spring Garden a few blocks back. So we walked from there all the way over to Logan Square, and so we got to Logan Square around like 10:20, and we got a good spot, pretty much close to where the guardrails were. So it was, considering everything, like it was very, not having to be there too early and everything like that, not having to hit much traffic. And then once the buses came, all the buses passed by us, we were out. We were like, all right, we're done. We're not going to stay for the speeches. I got home maybe around like 2 o'clock, right when the speeches were starting. Getting out of the city was easy, and yeah, it was. I was still exhausted there. I get it. I wasn't caught in as much traffic or crowds as you were, so the wait time for me wasn't bad. But I was so exhausted. I got home I watched the speeches. Once the speeches were done, I was out. I took a nap, and I was out for like 2 hours. So it was still an exhausting experience, even for me, when I didn't have as much wait time. So I can't imagine how exhausted you were. Or I know you messaged me the next day, or like, I'm still recovering. I'm like, well, you left your house at 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. Of course,
yes,
you're gonna be, so you're out for 12 hours.
Oh my god,
12 hours. So like that's the experience we have. That's But I'm with you. I know you told this to me before, but I think that's my last Eagles parade that I'm going to attend. I'm going to have faith that there's another one, but I think that's the last one I'm going to attend as well.
Unless they repeat. If they repeat, then I'm going.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I'm going to go back if my son is old enough and really, really, really wants to go to it. Then
if I had a kid in like the next few years, like I would take him to the parade. Like I don't care how tired I am. I don't care how sick I am.
So they experience it once. Yeah. You want to experience it once. So
exactly. Because that's something my dad would never do with me.
Gotcha.
He would never take me to one. He wouldn't experience that with me. Like I went to no like super major sporting events with him, like other than like 1 or 2 games in my lifetime. Like that would be something that I would love to experience with my son and or daughter. Like it would not matter to me, you know what I mean? Because you'll remember that forever.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm gonna bring in Les. Les is here. Hey Les, how are you?
Fellas?
How was the
parade?
Look at how privileged everyone is talking about whether they'll go to another Eagles
parade, right?
Can you imagine?
Yes, Les, we're privileged.
Maybe I might skip the next one,
We're those people now, Les.
We are those people. How was your experience, Les? This period? I know that I replied to your one tweet that you were at breakfast. You
Yeah.
I don't know how, Les, there was no traffic on the bend, which is shocking to me. But
Yeah,
how did your day go?
It was weird. First of all, the parade 7 years ago, I was covering for the Inquirer. So what they had us do, they still cared a little bit about the media back then. So they actually had us go down to NovaCare. They had school buses, and we went up before the parade came. We sort of zoomed through on school buses, and they put us, at the bottom of the steps there in a little holding pen, and you watched the speeches and stuff from there. They did nothing like that this time.
No.
For anybody. So I made my own plan. I went to like you, I live in South Jersey. So I went to Ferry Avenue, took Patco. It went very well. I had a breakfast reservation at a hotel, which I wanted to do so I could scrub off some time, not standing out in the cold. I did that. It worked out very, very well. And then I walked down. And the one error that I think I made, guys, is I wanted to see how far I could get.
Okay.
And I was by the time I really trod the parkway, I was probably only an hour and a half, 2 hours before the parade. So by the time I got to the bottom of Eakins Oval, like right below Spring Garden there, I was probably 50 to 100 rows back from the street and just jammed in like this.
Wow.
I mean, it was. And for one of my sons, the younger son, actually flew up from North Carolina Thursday night, and he was with his wife's family, and they were farther back on the parkway, which turned out for the parade to be a better deal. I wasn't sure whether I was going to stay in that same spot for for the speeches and everything, but there was such a lag between the parade and the speeches. They ended up walking around and then watching the speeches on a monitor, up toward Logan Circle. But for the parade, I think I would have. I never saw if there was anybody walking, and high fiving fans and stuff. I never saw any of that. I just saw, the buses go by. It was neat. I mean, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the people around me, and I got to talk to some of them. But I probably did screw up a little bit by getting too close.
It's funny you mentioned how you were for the first parade, you were right there at the bottom of the steps. I don't know if you came on and heard anything I was saying for that parade. We got to the Art Museum at 3 a.m. and we camped out. So I was about probably 3 rows of people behind that the guardrail where fans could be at. So I know that there was us, and then in front of us there was the media was at. Because I saw so many people throughout the morning. I know Kyle Brandt was there, Colleen Wolfe. There were the 2 people that they spent a lot of time, and a lot of people were excited to see them. But I saw a lot of media people in front of us. So I wasn't far from you for that first parade. It was so tiring. It was so tiring.
That's funny.
That first one. Yeah, it was. I told Pete and I told everyone I had no regrets doing that for the first parade, but I would never do it again. It's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. It was exhausting.
3 a.m.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I wouldn't do anything like that again. But I would love to. I would go to the parade probably just to be part of the deal. But but you were what you said about the bridge. I could have driven over and parked, and walked down, and that probably would have been a little bit easier. But the Patco worked pretty well. They did a decent job that day.
Yeah, I heard. Besides the long waits, I know people got stuck in the long wait home, but I heard everything went smoothly for the most part. So that's good to hear.
It really did.
That's really good to hear. All right, so let's parade talk. I wanted to open up with that because I know we all attended. But let's get to the poll question. Which we're gonna answer organically with our exercises. I'm really excited for this. It's a shame that this was actually Brinks' idea, but he's not feeling well, so he couldn't be here for it. But the poll question is for the fan who's listening and watching: Saquon Barkley's backward hurdle is a top play from the Eagles season. Agree or disagree? So I'm gonna leave that up. But like I said to you guys, we're gonna have a draft just so we can kind of do a little twist on on what we think is going to be the top plays of the year. So not just one play, but there's so many great plays. So PY, as you know me, I come prepared. So I have a little spreadsheet for all of us.
Spreadsheet.
Spreadsheet. All right. So it makes it a little easier for us to answer. And if you're in the chat, let us know exactly how you would do this. But we're gonna go snake order. We'll do like 4 rounds. So we'll do each of us will have 4 picks, 4 plays to draft. But I'll go through the plays real quick. And I put it in chronological order because I figured that one might be a little easier to do. So the first play, we got week 1 versus the Packers. We got AJ Brown's 67-yard catch and run touchdown. Week 3 against the Saints, Saquon Barkley's 65-yard run in the fourth quarter to kind of save that game against the Saints. Week 8 against the Bengals, Devontae Smith's 45-yard touchdown catch. Week 9, we got 3 plays from week 9. That Jaguar game, man. So week 9, as we all know, the Saquon Barkley backwards hurdle. Also, Devontae Smith's 26-yard touchdown catch on 3rd and 22, the one-handed one in the back of the end zone, and then also Jacoby Dean's interception in the end zone to win the game. Week 11, we got Zach Bond's 4th down stop on Jaden Daniels when he tried to pick up the 4th down. When he was running on the outside sweep. Week 12 against the Rams, we got a couple of plays. We got Saquon Barkley's 70-yard touchdown run right at the beginning of the third quarter, and then his 72-yard touchdown run to cap off his career game. Week 13, Cooper DeJean's solo tackle on Derrick Henry. Week 14, Darius Slay's pass breakup on 4th down to end the game. Week 17, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's pick 6 against the Cowboys. And then now we get into the playoff plays, which I'm sure is the beginning of our selections are going to be full with playoff games or playoff plays. The wild card game versus the Packers, we got Dallas Goedert's 24-yard catch and run touchdown with the double stiff arm that he did. Divisional round game, we got Jalen Hurts' 44-yard touchdown run. We got Saquon's 70-yard touchdown run in the snow in the fourth quarter. And then Jalen Carter's sack late in the fourth quarter on 3rd and 2 to save the game. We have in the NFC Championship game versus the Commanders, Saquon Barkley's 60-yard touchdown run on the first possession. And then 3 plays from the Super Bowl. Cooper DeJean's pick 6, Devontae Smith's 46-yard touchdown catch, and Milton Williams' strip sack. All right, so that's 20 plays there. And then so we're each gonna pick 4, okay? Yes, Greg, I do the homework. You know me. Really? I know the narrative
I'm so impressed.
The narrative in HUD is no notes. I am the one that takes notes. I'm all about the work, so I always do that. So
he's Mr.
We're gonna do snake format. We're gonna do less PY than me, and then it'll be reverse order on the way. So Les, no pressure, but your pick. What would you pick as the top play of the 2024 Eagles season?
Wow. Well, before the Super Bowl, this would have been very easy. I would have just done the backwards hurdle. But I kind of think the Cooper DeJean thing might be my favorite there. This is really hard. I don't think there's a wrong answer between those two. I definitely feel it's one of those two. I guess I'm going to stick with the backwards hurdle. I mean, there's
yeah, there you go. Okay,
I mean, you just can't. When people talk about the season 5 years from now, that might be like the first thing but it just seems like a strong pick.
Yeah, I hear you. I think
with the test of time.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. So that's a strong pick. So you would agree with the poll question. We got Brian Daly says so hard to hurdle something when you're not looking at it, let alone another person. Yeah.
Never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Yeah. And he says he agrees. It's easily the top play because of the fact that he wasn't looking when he hurdled the Jags defender. Yeah. So we got number 1 is the Saquon backwards hurdle. PY, let's get your answer. Do you think, I know you had the second pick, but would you have picked that if you had the first pick?
It probably would have been the hurdle, but if I had the first overall pick, just because it's just such a crazy play.
Yeah, it is. It's something that no one
Even to non-football fans, when you're talking about it and you show it to them, they're like, "Holy sh!" I showed it to my dad, and he's just like, he's not a big football guy anymore. He was crazy. My mom only watches football during the Super Bowl, and she's just like, ever since they won, she's like, "Oh my god, I really like that Saquon guy." She's just like, he seems so nice. And then I showed her like the hurdle, and she's like, "How does he do that?" That's a great question, Mom. That's a great.
To your point,
She's like,
BY,
did the Giants really just let him leave? I said, yes, Mom. They literally let him leave the
oh
building.
my god. BY, to your point, when we won the Super Bowl and like they were doing all the post game stuff, my mom every minute was like, "Show Saquon Barkley. I want to see Saquon Barkley. Are they going to interview Saquon?" Like,
because you don't shut the hell up about them.
So I hear you. All right, PY, you've got the second pick. Which play are you going to go with?
It's the dagger.
Which one?
The Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith dagger in the Super Bowl to end it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The F you to everybody shot.
Love it. I love that one too. And the only thing is, like, for me, because you guys know I'm paranoid, to me that wasn't the dagger, but I know a lot of people it was the dagger. So I completely hear you.
34-0. You thought they were coming back at that point, huh?
I just I'm so paranoid that like I could not be. I'm like Jalen. I'm not breathing until it hits zero. So like, it was. I couldn't let myself celebrate until the Milton Williams strip sack. But for my play, and it's so hard when you try to pick best plays. I would have won with backwards hurdle too, so I would agree with the poll question. Just because it's a once. No one's ever done it. No one probably ever will, unless they try to replicate it. We lost PY for a second. He'll come back. But so I would have done that. But with that one taken, I personally, because I like to also factor in, you got to think about like circumstances, right, and gravity situation. I'm gonna go with the Saquon Barkley 60-yard touchdown run against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game. I think, and Les, I know that I don't know if you if you were working back when it was. I promise it's not an old joke. The 1980. I always compare it to the 1980 Robert Montgomery run. Like,
in 80, I was working, but I was in Charlotte. I was a 24-year-old, covering colleges and high schools and stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But I did watch that game, of course. But I was not as a Philadelphian or particularly an Eagles fan, although I always kind of liked the Eagles. But yeah,
it was it's just the parallels are so like it set the tone so much for that game. So I'm going to go with that. So now with this being stake format, I'm going to pick another play. It's difficult, but I think I have to go with another Super Bowl play. I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean's pick six in the second quarter. I think you alluded to it, Les Bowen, that was probably the turning point of that Super Bowl.
That was when you really knew 10-0. I mean, you had 10 points on them the previous Super Bowl, but 17-0. You start to think, wow, this is really something.
And that's when like the momentum, you could really feel it, like really start to be significant in the Eagles' favor. It's like okay, like this is, like you said, this is like a real. This could get really ugly for the Chiefs. So
it got out of hand very early.
Very early, and that with the Cooper DeJean pick six was like that tone setter for that game. So BYU weren't here, but for my pick, the third overall pick, I went with Saquon's 60-yard touchdown run against the Commanders in the NFC Championship game.
That's a solid one. That is a. This is how we're going to set things up. This is who we are. Splash play that you needed to start that game.
Yeah, and it was such a backbreaker too, because the Commanders took took a long drive to end up with only
three straight fourth down conversions.
Yeah, and they only end up with 3 on a long drive, but the Eagles,
and because they forced out at the end of it. I was shocked.
Yeah.
You're 3 for 3 on 4th down with Zach Ertz conversions, and you don't go for it on the 4th.
That was puzzling. That was puzzling. So it just added to the gravity situation. So PY, you're up, 5th pick. Which one are you going with?
The Jalen Hurts touchdown against the Commanders.
Which one? That's not on here. Which one are you talking about?
Am I misreading? I probably am misreading because I'm stupid.
Which one?
44-yard run. I'm sorry, versus Rams. My bad.
Oh, the Rams. Okay, I was like the Commanders. So yeah,
Yeah,
no, that's a
everything
good
just
one.
blends together at this point. Which excellence was which game?
Yep. There's so many. There are so many I had to leave out too. Like
Yep.
so many Saquon.
How dare you not give our third string quarterback his due for his throwing his first touchdown?
Yeah,
That's true, right? Oh my God. I could have easily put that in there too if this was like a pool of like 50 plays. Good one too. All right, Les, you're up. 6th over pick. Which one are you gonna go with next?
well, again, I'm caught between two that I really like of what's left. Of what's left, the two that I like best are the Dallas Goedert stiff arm from hell touchdown or whatever it was. Was it a touchdown?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was a touchdown. Yeah.
It was a heck of a play, but the game against the Rams, the divisional round game against the Rams, that Carter sack.
Yeah.
I mean, I was starting to think they were going to lose that game. I mean, they had blown, they were within Matthew Stafford's grasp at the end of that game. The only playoff game that was really like that, they played. I think I'm going to have to go with Jalen Carter on this one, even though I love the Dallas Goedert thing. If you really think about what was important, to get us to the Super Bowl, I think that was one of the very clutch moments.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 1,000%. That was, I think when I think about this season, I think that's easily top 5. Like I think about that play. I'm like, if Jalen Carter doesn't make that play, who knows if we're having this conversation.
Yeah.
So 1,000%. All right. Well, you got the turnaround. You got 3rd round, 7th pick, so you get to pick again.
Well, I'll take my other one then. I'll take Dallas Goedert and the stiff arms.
The stiff arm, yeah, which is again great play. Great play. I loved it because like it just kind of when you heard Dallas talk about the play, he said that he intentionally slowed down to give him another stiff arm. That's so badass, like to be able to do that. So amazing.
It really is, and that's why, despite all the injuries and everything, that's why he's been such a clutch player. Such a culture setting kind of player for this team.
1,000%. 1,000. All right, PY, you're up. Your 3rd pick overall, 8th, or well, your 3rd pick, the 8th pick overall.
Devontae Smith's insane touchdown versus the Jaguars.
The Jaguars, good one. Yeah, that was insane. Oh my God, that was insane. That's a good one.
I just want to throw that there just because I hear people bring it up every once in a while. They talk about, whether or not the Eagles should have picked Michael Parsons over Devontae Smith. I just throw it out there. Like, are we still worried about that? Still wondering about whether or not Devontae Smith can help you get that Super Bowl? I'm just curious.
He's incredible. He certainly is incredible. So good pick. That catch was insane considering how little margin of error and be able to get both feet in bounds, which is something Devontae Smith is one of the best at in the game. To be able his balance and body control to have feet in to make sure his feet are always in bounds. It's remarkable. So yeah, that's a great one. Well, I have to do it, guys, because it's gotta be my pick, the Saquon Barkley 78-yard touchdown run in the snow.
It's a good one.
Saquon has talked about that as being his favorite play. I don't know if that stands, if that still stands, but like, yeah, he talked about it leading up to the NFC Championship game as being his favorite play of his career so far. So I have to go with that. And it's just that was my wallpaper for weeks until they won the Super Bowl. So it just aesthetically in the snow late in the fourth quarter, it is such a great moment, and probably be up there again with one of the true highlights and unforgettable moments of the season. So this season for the Eagles. So my next one after that, I think I'm probably going to go with Week 3 against the Saints. Saquon, that touchdown run in the fourth quarter again against the Saints. Our offense wasn't doing anything. The defense was putting up a good performance, and then Saquon Barkley with one run turns it around and essentially saves that game. So early in the season, we were still trying to figure ourselves out, but the one constant was always Saquon Barkley, even from week 1. So that play to me really weighs heavily. So heavily.
Yes.
Yep. All right, PY, you're up.
So I'm going to go with this because I think this kick-started everything. The A.J. Brown touchdown.
On week 1?
Yep.
Good one.
When there were questions about whether or not this offense could be explosive.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that from that game, I might have also included Barkley's first touchdown as an Eagle.
Catch. I wanted to.
Yeah. That's something
you could have. You made the list.
Yeah.
I know. Do you know how many? If it were up to me, and you know how many plays would have been in this pool that considered Saquon Barkley? I had to be.
Then you could have just made 2 spreadsheets, which just would have made you even happier.
Oh my God, you're funny. You're funny. But yeah, it's the Saquon Barkley catch. Yeah, was absolutely.
But one thing about that game when he did that, part of my thinking all along had been I wasn't really grasping the whole he's going to run for 2,000 yards this year kind of narrative going because the Eagles just haven't had that, And I really thought when he caught that touchdown pass like he did and got his feet down, I thought, he might have a hell of a year. I think his rookie year, he caught like 60-some passes or something, This might be how they use him a lot, It wasn't, but
it wasn't. But it was. He had so many big moments too as a receiver. So it was crazy. He didn't get volume, but his impact as a receiver and even as a blocker in the passing game was absolutely felt. So great point. Greg Miller says Jalen Carter sack on Matthew Stafford, biggest play of the season for any team to me. Okay. And I totally understand that, Greg. That it was huge, absolutely huge. So I totally get that. So PY does that. So let's cap it off. The 12th pick, the last one that we're going to go with for the top plays of the season. Which one are you going to finalize the draft with?
Well, you can't go wrong here. I mean, there's almost any of these would be really worthy. I'm going to go with Cooper DeJean on Derrick Henry just because the Ravens were so good. I mean, I would not have been surprised if the Eagles had ended up meeting the Ravens in the Super Bowl. And going into that game, I was really wondering still, about that was one of the games that really convinced me of what we were looking at here. And that play was one of the plays that helped convince me of what we were looking at here because Derrick Henry was just kind of neck and neck with Barkley at that point for having just an unbelievable year. And to see DeJean do that and a rookie, I thought, wow, okay, here we are. And so I just have to take that because it sticks out in my mind. If there were half a dozen plays from the season, that would be one of my half a dozen.
Yeah, no, I completely get it. I think that I was hoping that would make the cut somehow because it was another statement play, and it was, by a rookie on one of the greats of this era, this generation, to be able to make an open field tackle like that. And how many times last have we seen Derrick Henry stiff arm DBs and to the Josh Norman one is one that lives in infamy and is replayed as one of the highlights of his career. And tackling in open space 1-on-1 is no easy feat. I think that's very obvious to say. To be able to, and it's textbook because when you have a big back like that, the textbook way is to go low, you get their legs, and you drive them down. And that was just like it's so much easier said than done. But we've seen
Right.
defenders.
And that's how fundamentally sound he is,
Yeah,
and how that's just him in a nutshell.
it is absolutely. So, great stuff. So I'm gonna run down this is the Eagles talk top 12 plays of the season for the Eagles as drafted by us. From 12 to 1, we've got number 12, Cooper DeJean solo tackle on Derrick Henry. At number 11, A.J. Brown 67-yard catch and run touchdown against the Packers. At number 10, Saquon Barkley 65-yard rush in the fourth quarter against the Saints. Number 9, we've got Saquon Barkley 78-yard touchdown run in the snow in the fourth quarter of the divisional round game against the Rams. Number 8, we've got Devontae Smith's 26-yard touchdown catch on 3rd and 22 in the fourth quarter against the Jags. Number 7, Dallas Goedert's 24-yard catch and run touchdown using the double stiff arm against the Packers in the wild card game. Number 6, Jalen Carter's sack in the fourth quarter against the Rams in the divisional round game. Number 5, Jalen Hurts' 44-yard touchdown run against the Rams in the divisional round as well. Number 4, Cooper DeJean's pick 6 in the second quarter of Super Bowl 59. Number 3, Saquon Barkley's 60-yard touchdown run on the first possession against the Commanders. Number 2, Devontae Smith's 46-yard touchdown catch in Super Bowl 59 to seal it. And number 1, the top play unanimously amongst us at Eagles Talk is Saquon Barkley's backwards hurdle against the Jaguars in Week 9. That is our top 12 plays of the game. Gentlemen, great stuff. I think if you were to just list that linearly from 1 to 12, I think it'd be actually like a very good ranking.
I didn't think we messed anything up. I mean, there's some you could put in there certainly, but I think we did a good job.
I think we did a very, very good job. Yep, absolutely. So great stuff. Oh, Greg Miller does also say, didn't Nakobe Dean pick off Jordan Love in Brazil in the Green Bay game to put it away? I don't remember. I think wasn't that Reed Blankenship? I thought it was Blankenship.
Yeah, I think it was Blankenship. Yeah,
I think it was Blankenship. But Nakobe Dean did have, which is on here, the Nakobe Dean interception against the Jaguars, which is another phenomenal, great play by Nakobe. So kudos to him. Great stuff. So from great plays to end it here, before you go, Les, I wanted to give out some. Let's discuss real quick some team awards. It's going to be really wrong button. Sorry. It's going to be really easy. We're going to go with the Eagles team MVP, Rookie of the Year, and Most Improved. Or if you want to do Comeback Player of the Year, either one. I don't care what you do. So, Les, we'll start with Comeback or Most Improved Player of the Year. Who would you give that to?
Most Improved. Wow. Off the top of my head, and I haven't thought about this a bit, Nolan Smith, I guess, would be my most improved.
Yep, good one. That's definitely a popular one. PY, who would you give it to?
Nakobe Dean.
That's a good one too.
Very, very good one.
Yeah,
very, very good one. Yep. Those two. Well,
if I were to go make a case for Jalen Carter, I mean, I thought he was way above where he was last season.
Yep. Another name I'm going to throw out for most improved is you could say Zach Bond because he was no one, but he wasn't with the team.
No.
Yeah.
But
I thought about that, but we're thinking Eagles most of
Yeah. That's
the previous.
That was the caveat. Yeah, that was the caveat. But Comeback Player of the Year. In general, if I'm going to go to that category, just to change things up for most improved, I'm going to give it to Mekhi Becton. I loved his story from Jets to here to be able to bounce back the way he did. I think he's someone, even if he does end up leaving, he's made his name known. With the Eagles.
Absolutely.
So you can't help but root for him. He was so awesome for us. Rookie of the Year, Les. There's probably a couple. It's going to come down to two people. but who would you give it to?
You know, I almost have to go with DeJean, I think, because even though Quinion played all the games and was tremendous, I think DeJean, when DeJean came in, it had such an impact on the team. I'm not sure. I mean, I think if Isaiah Rodgers had been playing Quinion's spot, I don't think it would have been a huge difference. I mean, it would have been a difference, but I think Rodgers is very, very good. But DeJean over Avante, the way Avante was playing early in the season, was night and day. And that really made the defense to me. And some of it might have been coincidence because of the timing was just as the other guys started to really get the hang of things. But to me, the rookie that made the biggest difference was Cooper DeJean.
Good argument. PY, I think I know where you're going with this, but say it.
Coop! It's gotta be Coop. Remember, he was my first round choice. That was my
I know he
guy.
was. I know he was.
I was so happy when they got him. But it sucked when he got hurt in training.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, he's having network problems. But yeah, I hear you on Coop. So I'm gonna be just to be contrarian. Well, not just to be contrarian, because I think I do believe this. I would give it to Quinion. I will put it into this context. If you're talking about who made the most impact in terms of improvement from their backup to who they were, so to what you were saying, Les, like the drop off from Coop to Avante would have been so drastic. I would give it in that sense. I would absolutely give it to Coop because I think Rodgers played very, very solid when he had to come in for several games. He was no way was he like a huge liability. So I think if he had to fill in for Quinion, he would have been okay. What I will say is that if I were to just measure it on who do I think is better at their respective position overall, I think I'd give it to Q by a hair because I think with Quinion, the reliability for Vic to just say, Q, you're going to take care of your side and we're not going to worry about anything else. We're going to leave you on an island. And he was essentially on an island by himself for all year. And QBs at some point, midway through the year, they stopped throwing to him. They just wouldn't test him. So to be able to just take care of that side of the field all season long and be as consistent as he was, I think the only bad play he had was the touchdown he gave up to Terry McLaurin against the Commanders in Washington. That might have been the only really bad play he had. Other than that, he was lights out. So it's splitting hairs, and you can absolutely it's between them two. But that's my argument for why I would give it to Quinion. But Cooper DeJean is absolutely worthy of that too. So 1,000%. All right, last one, and probably the most important. And I don't know if we'll have contrarian views here or if it's going to be unanimous. But Les, the MVP of the team in 2024.
Well, it's really boring to say it, but I guess I have to take Saquon Barkley. I mean, I can't imagine not taking him overall. You can make a case for Bowen, I guess, but I have to take Saquon.
Yeah, I agree too. I think it has to be Saquon. And I don't know if you watched the mic'd up of the NFL Films put out. I put together the clips of it, but hearing Jalen, Sirianni, Lurie, and Howie all say what they had to say to Saquon at the end of the Super Bowl, I mean, it just cements it. Like Kurtz was saying how he was the final piece. Lurie saying how much he believed in him, Howie, and then I think it was Sirianni's quote that was the kicker for me. It was Sirianni was telling him how he didn't care as much about the player, but Saquon as the leader is a truly special special person. So I think that impact that Saquon has had and him being the game changer of for this team is just phenomenal. It's without words. There aren't enough words in the dictionary I could say to explain the impact that Saquon has had on this team. So unequivocally, he is my pick for MVP. But PY, who would you pick for MVP?
I mean, it's got to be Saquon. Like Jalen said it himself. Like you changed this team. Like you were the piece. Like you were exactly what we needed to get to that next level.
Yep,
yeah, absolutely. I don't know if you guys follow the narrative in New York at all as we've gone through this. You know, obviously they got very tired of the pictures of John Mara from the
from Hard Knocks, yeah,
from Hard Knocks and all that stuff. So this sort of, I think the wisdom there now is, well, you know, I mean, this is old news. We've got to move past this. It's you know, it's that it had to happen. We couldn't keep him, and we didn't have the right pieces to put around him, and it's just gotta, you know, you got to stop talking about this now. We got to move forward. And I just would like to say, you know, of course, you know, that's just like the Red Sox had to move on from that whole Babe Ruth thing. It didn't take very long, you know.
Didn't take very long at all, right? I if you're the Giants, I can understand the frustration, but it's never going away.
No,
I think
to act like, you know, this is like something that's okay, it's in the past and it's really not that big a deal going. It's a huge deal going forward.
Huge deal.
And it's you know, you'll feel the ramifications of this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And I don't say that to really tweak Giants people, just to be a realist, you know. I mean, it's just, you're coping when you try to act like, okay, well, we move on. You know, that's an old topic now.
They're 100% coping. Yeah, and it's unfortunately they're gonna have to just deal with this forever. I mean, the Eagles winning the Super Bowl cemented it. Like this is never going to ever not be a talking point. It's going to be a talking point forever, and so it's going to loom over them. It always will. It's always going to loom over I don't think as much over Mara, because obviously Mara wanted to keep him, so I don't think it's going to be a bad look on Mara's part. But Joe Shane, I think it's something he's never going to have to live down. Ever going to live down.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, gentlemen, that was a great stuff. Thank you so much again for your contributions. Yeah, it was. I had fun doing this because there's so many plays from the season. So, thank you for your insight. And I will not be here next week, but Brinks and PY will be here. So I will see you in about 2 weeks. But until then, have a good one, and I'll talk to you soon.
All righty, guys. Thank you again.
PY,
grow the beard back.
Mr. Clean Shaven. All right, see you, Les.
All righty.
Bye, Les.
That is Les Bowen, Bowen the Birds. Always a pleasure. Yeah, I mean, with me being, there's some comments I need to get to. There was one about, so John Malmus does say most improved. He would give it to Jordan Davis. So I can understand that one. I wouldn't go that route, but I can understand where he's coming from that standpoint. SJM says Cooper DeJean was so good that even PY was able to correctly predict his ascension. Greg says, if the Eagles trade Kenny Pickett, what compensation do they get in return? I think it'll be, I mean, you're talking about day 3 picks. It's not going to be anything significant if they were to trade Kenny Pickett. But at the same time, you know, there are desperate teams. Maybe someone gives us a third. That is, I would be shocked, but I also wouldn't rule it out completely if Kenny Pickett gets a third. SAM also does say Quinion Mitchell was tested early on, proved his spot, and went largely unnoticed to an extent as opposing teams were more comfortable testing other players in secondary. Absolutely. Like, he was tested early, like you said, and he just never let up. And quarterbacks just didn't throw to him. They didn't throw to him. It's insane. A legitimate lockdown corner for us. It's remarkable. SJM also says the Eagles defense as an entire unit is arguably the MVP. Coupled with Saquon, it was the perfect combination of two missing pieces completely transforming this team. And I don't argue a ton against that. That's a very good argument. And if making that argument, you could say that the MVP, along with that, you have to mention Vic Fangio. Vic Fangio, the architect of the defensive scheme, and being able to get these players to play hard, buy into the system, and execute the way they did. He deserves so much credit. I can't say enough how much credit Vic Fangio deserves. SGM also says, when I say this defense comes down to not only Fangio, there you go, Fangio, but the defensive staff he brought in. 1,000%. From top to bottom, 1,000%. But PY is having some. There he goes. There he is. Now you're back.
Yeah.
You good? You've only got about 9 minutes left, so hang in there for a little bit longer.
Yeah. My area has been really hit really bad with all those storms and everything. So.
Oh no, I hear you. I totally get that. So, few more minutes left. I wanted to, because I won't be here next week. I would imagine your conversation next week is going to be about this. So I wanted to hint at it too and touch on it if I miss it. Pending Eagles free agents. All right, that's a hot topic that people want to get into now.
Bond and more Bond.
PY, I think both of us agree. Bond has to be priority 1, priority 2, priority 3. Like you have to.
Like obviously, like I would like Milton Williams back, but I just think he's going to cost too much. I think your second priority probably has to be Mekhi back then.
Yeah.
Just because I think he's
sorry.
I say that because Josh Sweat went out and got Clutch Sports.
Yeah, Mekhi Becton the agency he hired, he wore their either shirt or hat at the exit interviews. So
yeah, but when you're repping Clutch, like you're about to get paid.
Well, yeah, I mean Sweat and Milton are going to get paid.
Yeah,
so
well, yeah. I think both of those guys are going to be out of our price range.
Yeah.
Like Howie has this thing called walkaway numbers. I don't think there's a walkaway number. I think it's a crawl away number. Like I think that's how far away this number is going to be with either of those guys. And I think Mekhi, with all of the success that he had this year and with how good he felt being an Eagle, I think you could probably get him to come back on a cheaper deal.
I think that's very possible. I think during the season, I had said like if I were to prioritize them, I'd prioritize Milton over Becton. And if you're just looking at the player, I would rather keep Milton over Becton. But now that we're here, if you're talking about realistic, like if you're talking about probable, what's probably going to happen, yeah, I think it's more likely. Absolutely more likely that Becton stays. I think Becton I could see him being more willing to take a cheaper deal to stay, just because being here has meant so much to him. So I can see it happen. I think in the end, though, I think we extend Bond, and I do think Milton, Sweat, and Mekhi are all gone. I think all three of them are gone. So. Yeah, that's just me. I'd love to be wrong because keeping Becton would be great, but I also think that if Becton goes, I don't think it's at the end of the world. I think
I think they think really highly of Steen.
Either Steen or remember Keegan too. The rookie Trevor Keegan is someone we have as well. So I wouldn't rule out him as being a option, even if it's to take over Steen's spot as like that primary backup. Right on the interior, like I think he can be fine. So I think there's a succession plan there if we lose Mekhi. So I don't think it's the end of the world. SJM says, Chuck's is our favorite time of the year, Howie season. I'm stoked for the upcoming draft / free agency. My priority list would be Bond, then Williams, then Becton. I do think Becton is likely to take less to stay. Yeah, so he agrees. He agrees with us. Yeah,
March and April is like my crack.
Your crack.
It is like I'm meant like once it comes time to like free agency and draft time, like I'm locked in. Like Like, just put my vein open and just hook me up. Like, I'm ready to go. Like,
well, we don't have much. We don't have that much time to wait. So like, that's a good thing about I guess playing to the Super Bowl. It's
watch some UFL.
Oh my god, yeah, you are the one person with the football minor leagues. Matthew says Howie will draft William Williams replacement. You could argue
it is a defensive tackle draft.
Well, what I'm saying is you could argue the replacement for Milton Williams is already here.
Yeah, it's more
Yeah, you could argue because he played really, really, really well too. So yeah,
so they're ranking the defensive tackles like pass rush win rate in the playoffs. Mauro Jomo was right there with freaking Chris Jones. It's insane.
Yeah, it was really high. So I would, yeah.
Well, people don't forget is that when they drafted him, he was viewed as a top 100 prospect who just happened to fall for one reason or another. It was the same thing with the Eagles' third-string corner, Taylor McKee. He was also a top 100 prospect who fell.
Well, that's the nature of the beast. A lot of times is a lot of the day 3 prospects that fall, it just takes one thing. Like they'll have the talent, but if there's a medical red flag or if they were out for a year or something off the field, that's all it takes sometimes. This is one red flag. So it happens to a lot of people. So John Malma says, what's with Slade during the offseason here? He's not coming back. And he adds Rodgers is a restricted free agent. I would think that Rodgers is going to be back. The word is with Slay is that this will be his final year with us. He wants to play one more season. So I would anticipate if he wants to, it would be with someone else. And there is a lot of money we would save if we got rid of him. So the anticipation is he's going to be gone, which is why winning this Super Bowl meant so much because I wanted to see Slay win a Super Bowl with us. So
I could see them bringing him back for one more season if they were able to work on a number that worked for both.
Yeah, no, I understand. I think so too, but
because then it gives you one more year to get Keely ready because that's the plan. Like we all know that's where they're going. Like Keely Ringo, they're going to work on him a little bit while longer until he's able to be CB2. And I would love for Slade.
Yeah, possibly. I think
unless they 100% buy in with Rodgers.
Maybe. I don't know if they are 100% bought into either or. I think the hope would be that Keely Ringo develops into a CB2. I think that would be a goal of theirs. I don't know if I could sit here and say, "Oh, that's cemented. They're going to have him as CB2 no matter what." I can't guarantee that, but maybe it is an option for them, and they want to see what he can do. So I would love for him to develop because I think he has the physical ability, but I don't think this year in the limited reps he got on the outside, I don't think he's shown anything, but that doesn't mean anything. He got limited reps. It's very difficult for someone to come in like that and play at a high level anyway. So I don't blame him. We just have to wait and see. So I think it's still up in the air. John Malma says there's a defensive tackle, Darius Alexander from Toledo, 4th round.
I heard his name earlier today.
Remind me in 2 months because again, I have done no draft work. I will not be doing any draft work for another couple of weeks. I have vacation next week, so I will be out all next week. And then when I come back, I have some stuff to catch up on, and then I'll probably dive into draft work. So it's going to be a little while because you all know I do extensive running back work first. So I usually get all my running back work done by the beginning of April. And once I'm done running backs, I will be doing all the other positions and dabbling in the other positions. But it's going to be a while for me.
Can I go my 7th year or 7th season predicting or seventh first round pick prediction? Can we go?
No. I think it's done.
Oh, I don't know. Why are you putting the bad voodoo on me? I've been excellent with these picks lately.
Yeah, sure. I think you've gotten lucky. I think you've gotten lucky.
Jalen
On
Rager,
that
Mike
note,
Davis, Devontae Smith, Noah
on
Smith,
that
Jalen
note,
Carter, Cooper DeJean.
on that note, thank you to all the fans for for watching, tuning in to another week of Eagles Talk. We are, of course, brought to you by Baggio's Bread. Make sure you mention us for 10% off your in-store purchase. I will not be here next week, as I mentioned, but
Whoa.
be back. PY will be back, and Les Bowen will be back to give you more Eagles talk. Until then, my boy Chucks, PY, and the rest of us here at A2D Radio. We appreciate the support. Keep celebrating. Enjoy this Eagles
Go
championship
Birds.
all off season long. We love you. Go Birds. Peace out.
Go Birds. Peace.